Hi there guys, got a video here for you today on the Daystate Redwolf, and what we're going to be doing in this one is swapping out the old style battery for the newer one. So if we take a look at the new battery here, so this is the new battery and the new battery lead. It does have a slightly different connection on it to the older battery, which is this style here. The older battery were 2-cell and the newer ones are 3-cell. Luckily it's a fairly simple job, but we have been asked about it a couple times now, so I thought we'd walk you through the process. First thing we've done is disconnect the battery and leave the rifle overnight to allow the capacitors on the board to discharge properly, and that just makes the board and the rifle safe to work on. Next thing we can do is remove the stock, so flip the rifle on its end and loosen this screw here using an 8mm Allen key. As you remove the stock, just help the battery wire through the stock so it doesn't get caught or pinched on anything. Next thing we'll do is lay the rifle over and remove this cover piece here. To do that, we're just going to take a flat bladed screwdriver and remove these 3 screws. With the side cover off, we can see the board of the Redwolf here. If we have a look at our battery connection and trace the wire back, we can see it connects into this connection in the bottom here. To remove it, what we're going to do is feed in a little slack wire from the top, hook it out with a soft plastic O-ring pick or something similar, and then gently pull on the connection to remove it. Here it is there. Once it's removed, we can gently fish the wire back through, making sure it doesn't get connected or caught on any of the connections within the board itself, and pull it out. So this is the old one here. With the old connection removed, we can take our new connection and get that installed on the board. We're going to do that by nice and carefully fishing the connection through the back here, and then with the help of our O-ring pick we can get the wire fished through. If we take a close look at the end of the connection, we see that the pinholes in the end are offset, so they're closer to one side than they are the other. The holes need to be closest to the bottom of the connection in order to install it into the board. And once we've got the connection started, we can take our O-ring pick again and just gently push the connection into the board. The connection itself may be slightly stiff, but it should not be difficult to get into the hole. If you're having troubles, just have a look at the end of the connection and make sure you've got it round the right orientation. But there we have it. The last thing we can do is just gently push the wire down and get it situated to where it needs to be. And I'll get you a brief look at where the connection needs to be fed through. So in the back here, we see this gap between the board and the aluminium piece. The wire needs to be fed under there, under the 2 connection wires for both the trigger and the safety, and then connected into this portion here. So there we have it. Before we put the cover over the top, I thought some of you may be interested to see the difference between a GCU1 board and a GCU2 board. So the board that's fitted to this Redwolf is a GCU1 board, and it's an older rifle. So if we bring the boards back, we take a look at them there, we see the GCU2, this one here, is slightly bigger capacitors and a slightly different board layout. There we have it there. The main benefit of the GCU2 board is that it's capable of a higher power, although for sub 12 we're not really interested in that, and for sub 12 use there is no real benefit in the GCU2 board. It's obviously nicer to have the new one, but both can be programmed using the newer software, and there's no real performance difference, for sub 12 at least, between the 2 boards. Not one's going to be more accurate or anything like that. So for sub 12 use there's not much difference. The big benefit comes in FAC and international users, where the newer board is capable of a higher power. But there we have them there. Right then, with that said and done, we can get the top cover reinstalled. The 2 things we've got to worry about with this is that this wire here is nice and tucked away, and that the pressure sensor wires, these ones here, don't get pinched between the sides of the block. They do have 2 cutouts in them, this one here and this one here, so just make sure the wires go through one of those cutouts as we put it on. Next up we can reinstall the 3 screws and then get each of those started using a flat bladed screwdriver. Before we do them up tight, just make sure that both the front wire, or the back wire should say, this one here, and the sensor wires aren't being pinched between the 2 halves of the plastic cover. Once we're happy, we can do the screws up using a flat bladed screwdriver. And then we can reinstall our stock. To do that, we'll flip the rifle on its end, using the cocking lever as some support. We'll take our stock with the battery cover open. We'll feed the battery wire through the bottom of the stock, making sure that the wire goes up the tube inside the grip, like so. Next we can get the stock bolt installed using an 8mm Allen key. And before you do this up tight, just make sure that the battery wire is all the way through the stock. There should be about 1 inch poking out the bottom of the stock, but once we're happy we can get that done up nice and tight. With that done, we'll take our new battery, the 3-cell one here, and get that put into the grip. And then we can connect the battery, fold the wires down so they're nice and tucked away, then close the battery cover. Now, as we can see here, the rifle is powered on, and we're ready to test the rifle over the chronograph. Swapping from the old style battery, this one here, over to the new style should have no effect on your power whatsoever, although after doing any work to your rifle, it's always good to check it over the chronograph just to make sure nothing else has changed. Right then, so with that done, I'm happy that there's been no changes with the power on the rifle and that we're still nicely under the sub 12 pound limit. With that all said and done, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. All the parts that we used in this video are available from Daystate themselves, and they are fairly inexpensive. You only really need to do this upgrade on the older rifles, as Daystate changed over to this battery type fairly quickly. But it's a nice little upgrade for the older guns, as the newer battery lasts a lot longer. With that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.